AI agents are already running inside your enterprise. They're on laptops, they're in the cloud, they're across your systems that your security teams are not even aware of. And most of them are completely ungoverned. There is no identity control, there is no audit trails, no spending limits in most cases, and no one knows what those agents are actually accessing or what they are doing with it. It is becoming one of the biggest challenges for enterprise users today. And Mirantis is trying to change that with Lens Agent, a unified platform that brings policy driven governance to AI agents running anywhere in your environment. And today we have with us once again Miska Kaipiainen, Head of Product at Lens, to talk about what governed AI agent infrastructure looks like and how it works in practice. Miska, it's great to have you back on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
As we are discussing, AI agents are spreading fast across developer laptops, cloud services, internal systems. But as that sprawl happens, governance hasn't kept pace. Why does that distribution across environments make these agents so difficult to govern in the first place?
So we actually noticed this ourselves. Like half a year ago, we started moving to become an AI native organization. And we started running autonomous AI agents for our own individual needs within our teams, etc. And so we have multiple teams. We have marketing, we have GTM, we have engineering. All of these guys, they want to run agents. And we found out that actually it's not a problem of having great technologies. There are bits and pieces of technologies everywhere, and each one of technologies addresses different pieces of the puzzle. But we didn't find anything that we could actually use to ourselves to really understand that where does the agents actually have access and how can we actually govern the access. And that's basically, we started building this platform basically initially for our own needs. And we found out at the end that, hey, this is actually pretty cool. And maybe actually some of the other organizations are in the same spot as we are. So that's where it all started, with our own internal needs. And it took off from there.
Since you folks use it internally, so you know better than anyone else that governance is a kind of word that gets thrown around a lot. But what does governing AI agents actually mean in practice beyond the buzzword and the marketing language?
I'm a developer by heart, myself. And for me, actually, governance is kind of not one of my favorite words, to be honest. But actually what I learned by being a massive user of Claude Code and Codex and all of these coding agents is that I started to feel like that, hey, actually I want to have a little bit of a governance for my AI agents that I'm now running on my laptops even. So if you think about that, all the places where these AI agents have access to, they have basically access to my entire operating system, even though sometimes they might be asking permission if they can do something or not. But we all know that, sometimes they just don't. And that kind of drove us to that the problem starts from the individual user's machine already. And what can we do in there? And then it goes all the way to the autonomous agents that then the enterprises run on their production environments. And there are multiple layers. It's a connectivity to all the critical business contexts, and also how do you manage secrets and everything related to that. So it's a very, very complex topic, and it took quite some time for us to put all the bits and pieces together for this solution.
Now, here's the thing. Organizations like Mirantis, they already have cloud platforms. They already have security tools in place. They already have identity systems. Why those systems are not sufficient for managing AI agents? What is fundamentally different about this specific problem when you deal with AI agents versus traditional security identity management systems?
Yeah, actually, that's a funny thing, because for a very long time, we have been used to protect basically all kind of threats that are coming from the outside to inside to our organization. And now it's been almost like a paradigm shift. And now we have been basically inviting the AI agents inside to our organization. And it's not anymore kind of defending the threats that are coming from outside, but actually the threats that the AI agents themselves cause by being inside the systems already. And often these AI agents are using the human credentials. So it's not like that the AI has a credentials. They are working on behalf of humans, and it's kind of implied credentials, and that's a very problematic case because not many organizations have a system or identity solution that how do we identify agents and what are the AI behaviors and how do we distinguish those from the human, actors that are using our systems. And it's a completely kind of a new kind of set of identities that needs to be governed.
Now, there is also a real tension between letting agents be autonomous enough to be useful and keeping enough control to stay safe. Check and balances. How do organizations, even like Mirantis, actually balance that, allowing agents to do what they are capable of doing, what you want them to do, but also ensuring they only do what you want them to do, especially as agents are becoming more capable over time, especially because organizations want them to do more?
Well, I think it's kind of easy. So in order for us to have a good agent, so hallucination is still happening. So it has not disappeared, and of course it's getting better and better, and it's becoming better because the models themselves are just becoming so much more amazing all the time. If you compare the models what we had a year ago to the models that what we have today, it's like a night and day, the difference on their kind of quality of the responses and capabilities. But in essence, what the agents need, they need two things. They need connectivity to relevant data sources. So whether it's your Salesforce data, it's your financial data, it's your maybe some internal knowledge-based systems, whether it's a source code system, whether it's some production environment that you need to be monitoring or you want these agents to be interacting with. So it's all about managing connections. And then it's at the same time, it's managing that what is the available toolbox that the agents are having at their disposal for actually doing something with those connections. So now, a very capable agents, you basically give them full freedom to basically even build those tools that they need themselves. If you give them a challenge and they can create the tools that they need to accomplish the task. Even if they don't have the tools, they can be pretty good at figuring out how to solve different problems. And for that, of course, then you need to start restricting, okay, what kind of tools you can actually build, and how can you do that? It's a very it's not a deterministic system. Agents might do whatever. And for that, the only way basically you have to do it is that you need to control, for example, that what kind of software repositories you are giving these tools, or agents rather, access to go and install maybe some tools and libraries and etc. So when they are building their internal tools to accomplish a task, so they are less likely to have all kind of security vulnerabilities that might be trying to then do something bad with your production environments, for example. Another thing is that how do you manage then the secrets? Because every place in your internal systems, each one of the place needs to have the authentication. So you need to grant identities for your agents, and then they need to be authenticating to these external systems with their own identities. But in there as well, it's not so easy because if you think about that the agent is compromised, it might be sending these secrets already to the third party, places where you don't want any information to be sent. So you need to develop a system where the secrets can be exposed to an agent while agent actually doesn't have any secrets at any moment in time. So it's and we are talking about the secret injections, and there are different strategies how this can be accomplished. So, it's very difficult. Agents are fast, they are doing all kind of stuff all the time. We have to trust them. They are not malicious by nature, but you just need to put in checks and balances so that you as a human are still kind of on top of things, and you have all the controls in place so that the agents just don't go wild and do all kind of things that you don't want. So it's a very, very complex topic, this whole governance topic for the agents.
Now, let's talk about Lens Agent, because that is the problem it's trying to solve. Yes, as you rightly mentioned, it is complex. So talk a bit about, when we look at Lens Agent, it's a unified platform that brings policy-driven governance to AI agents running anywhere across your environment. Talk a bit about how does it work under the hood.
Right. So basically we have two kind of major components in there. So first of all, we have been building our own sandboxing technology that is not based on this traditional container technology. So it's based on the micro VM technology, and we have also a supervisor basically component that is watching all the time what is happening inside this sandbox, and every kind of data traffic that goes in or out from this sandbox, it's basically policy managed. And that's the kind of one of the core components of this technology stack. So it's the sandbox that is a supervised sandbox technology. And this supervised sandbox technology we are providing as a platform, so enterprise can run multiple, tens or hundreds or thousands of these type of supervised sandboxes on their target environment. So whether they want to deploy these on-prem environments, or whether they want to deploy these on AWS or Azure or Google Cloud, so they can leverage their hyperscaler capacity to run these sandboxes from there. So what we do is that we provide that control plane for centralized visibility, and all the audit trails and everything that what the agents are doing basically comes to our kind of central location for central IT governance. And that's the platform piece of the story. Kind of a side story to that is that we also do our own agent for those parties that might be still trying to figure out what kind of agent we should be running in our enterprise setting. So we make life and decision kind of slightly easier for those guys. They can take our agent, but at the same time, basically any agent, if you already have developed some agents or anything like that, so they run on top of this platform just fine. But you will gain all this visibility, governance, and control for all your agents.
Now let's talk about risk. What are the biggest dangers enterprises are facing right now from agents that are unmanaged or poorly governed?
Oh gosh. and by the way, this is kind of this is a serious threat, because I think all of us, probably everybody who is listening to this, show, for example, right now, they are probably having somewhere on their machine already, maybe Claude Code doing some work in the background. So it's just a matter of time when something very, very bad will happen. I hope that just raising the awareness that even if it's some innocent looking agent running on your laptop, it is a massive security threat for many enterprises. How can you actually govern even those agents that run on your employees' laptops? That is a question that I think we need to have an answer very soon. Otherwise, it's gonna be a wild times ahead.
Now, I've been covering Lens since day one when it was acquired by Mirantis. It started as a Kubernetes IDE with over 1 million developers. How does that foundation tells you how to approach building a governance layer, and why does that existing footprint, user base, matter for where agents actually live and operate? How is that experience helping you build Lens agents?
Well, I think first of all, we hope that since there are quite many users we have, so we are able to help those users kind of almost like immediately by providing them with the safe technology to run agents on their local machines, just like that. So that's of course what we are hoping to do right away, and hopefully, later on the companies who are basically employing these people, will also find the value with the Lens agents as a platform for the same reasons. So I think we try to, of course, use our bigger reach to spread the solution that we feel is fundamentally kind of making use of AI and AI agents more safe for everybody, basically. So we hope that many people will find us and will start using our technologies.
Excellent, thank you. And of course, last week we talked about the Iron acquisition. Talk about what will be the impact of this acquisition on projects like Lens, which are core part of what Mirantis is offering, not only to the community, but to the enterprise ecosystem as well.
Yeah, so I see that of course, now with these agents, so Mirantis is of course very well-known name in the market for bringing this data center technology basically from metal to model kind of concept. And I think what we can do to expand this concept from model to agents. So basically, now you have the models, and then what do you need next is, of course, the agents. So I think there is a very, very kind of good play in there, and how these kind of offerings are going to be supporting each other. And we are looking forward to serve all these Mirantis Iron kind of bigger accounts and customers.
Miska, this has been a really great conversation. You have taken something that feels abstract and made it concrete and urgent. Thank you for joining us and sharing where Lens is taking this, because this is a serious and very, very, I think, urgent pain point for organizations, and they need to work on it. So thank you so much for sharing those insights, and also thanks for creating Lens agents. So folks, please go and check Lens agents at lenshq.io. It's in early access right now, and it's worth a look if you are thinking seriously about AI operations and governing your AI agents. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next conversation.
Thank you so much for having me.